The Great Adventures of Angelica Cherryfur, Quercus, Minora, and the 8 Elemental Stones, Book 1, by Geoffrey Cameron Sir. The half-title, title, dedication, table of contents. Here's the introduction. Quercus and Sarzana are a binary pair of planets. They revolve around a common barycenter, which lies between them and moves along an orbit through the planetary system. Their planetary system, that is. They are similar in volume as well as mass, and a variety of life inhabits each of them. Many of the other planets have varying names when they are referred to by different cultures, but Quercus and Sarzana have the same names everywhere. On both planets, advanced societies of various species of profoundly intelligent animals exist. At the same time, many other species of more ordinary animals exist. Some of them are even raised as livestock by the civilized. Stranger still are some extraordinary animals, who roam the land, but are so rare and grand that their existence is but fabled by those who would talk of such things. In recent history, some of the civilizations have learned to harness the vast power of the elemental stones to create technological advancements which would not have been possible before. Technology used to be limited to simple crafts of wood, stone, and metal. Now, the technology to travel between these two planets has even begun to emerge. Several secret societies practice the use of magic, including some that are far older than any written records. Although they are often thought to be mythological, they are generally believed to be responsible for some of the oddities of the lands. Those who do not acknowledge the existence of magic have their own explanations for the strange things they find, even for the elemental stones. Look toward the southern hemisphere of Quercus, the small subcontinent of Quercus Minora, where you find the beginning of one of the grandest adventures ever recorded in the history of the planet. Chapter 1. Embarking for Adventure. The whirring propellers of the Rindell Sky Cruiser Prime awoke the villagers of Rubra, the capital of Agrifolia, the westernmost kingdom of Quercus Minora. The warm sunlight crept over the frost-peaked mountains up in the north, bringing life to the capital. The kingdom of Agrifolia is occupied primarily by squirrels, as it has been for many centuries, though many other animals live in Quercus Minora as well. It is a peaceful country that mostly keeps to itself. In the village are homes made of hollowed-out giant acorn shells imported from the continent Lomus Vienna, which the Agrifolians refer to as the Ancient Land. Animals and plants that thrive there are, for the most part, much larger than those that live in Quercus Minora. Explorers from Lomus Vienna taught the Agrifolians about agriculture, architecture, and many other things thousands of years ago, but they were much larger and would not have been the right size to live inside acorns. Today, the birthday of the 6 heirs to the throne of Agrifolia has finally come, and it would have been time for them to embark on a journey around the world to earn their right to the throne. Of the 6, however, the only one of them who was still present in the castle on this day was Angelica Cherryfur, the youngest of the sextuplets. One of her sisters and one brother had mysteriously disappeared within the past few years. Her 2 eldest brothers had embarked on adventures of their own, declining their right to the throne, and her elder sister had left the family more than 10 years ago. At last, Angelica would finally get to go on the journey for which she had waited her entire life. and because her siblings were no longer in the kingdom, she would be the only one qualified to uphold the ancient tradition. Angelica sprang out of bed, happily remembering that it was her birthday and that she was to begin her very first journey. She had spent most of her childhood waiting for this day because in the entirety of her life she had never wandered far from the castle. It was improper for royal children to do such things, her mother, the queen, had always said. Her father hadn't been worried about impropriety, but she had been worried about the children getting lost or hurt. Regardless of their reasons, both parents had kept her at home. Excited as she was about the adventure of leaving her home, she was also nervous because because although she had done a great deal of studying about the outside world, she felt that her insufficient knowledge would be a hindrance. After spending much time learning to eat properly and walk with finesse and such things, she still had no experience in traveling and had met very few strangers. Overwhelmed, she sighed and then got into her favorite dress and cleaned her fur in front of her mirror. The reflection that she saw was that of a frightened child, even though she was coming of age. She had hoped to see a well-composed adult looking back at her. Soon, Jean-Pierre, one of the royal guard, came for Angelica. The king and queen were waiting on the ramparts for her, ready to send her off. Before leaving, she took one last look around her bedroom. Since she was unlikely to see it for several years, she brought nothing with her as she hurried down the spiral staircase towards the foot of her tower. Stepping out into the bailey, she could see her parents who were waving to her from above. Angelica waved back to them, then swiftly traversed the bailey and climbed up the staircase that led to the battlements. She felt burdened by the weight of her imminent farewell to her parents as she opened the door to where they were waiting for her. Her father, King Raywald Cherryfur the 12th, formally greeted her when she came to them. Princess of Agrifolia, you are the last eligible heir to travel the great journey around our world, Lucarius. Once your journey is complete, by the ancient tradition of our country, you will become the crowned queen of Agrifolia, and will rule with what husband you choose to be your king. It will be a long and perilous journey, and the only way that you will be able to survive is by companionship with the steward and his men, as well as any others whose trust you can gain. I dare say that you would never succeed if you went by yourself. We love you dearly, so please come back to us safely, my daughter. Her mother, Queen Rosalis Wildthorn Cherryfur, spoke to her in an unexpectedly gentle tone. Take care, and don't forget your manners when you meet new people along the way. Happy 18th birthday. It was about as much as she could have expected from her mother, but she didn't blame her. Her mother was never good with long speeches, nor did she pretend to be. Angelica herself said, Dear mother and father, I have never left your loving home, and I will miss you dearly. I will do my absolute best to uphold the honor of our kingdom, and to bring good face to us around the world. She was sure of those words, but she didn't yet think of the difficulties that diplomacy might bring her on her journey. They embraced once, and then waved to each other as she stepped across the plank onto the Rindell Skycruiser Prime. As soon as she stepped onto the deck, She could feel the vibrations of the ship's propellers, which kept it in the air. Having always been on stable ground, Angelica found the experience to be surreal, and she didn't know what to make of it at first. Well, I need to get going for now, and I will make another video of this if anyone is interested in seeing. I think I'll make videos anyway, but yes, you can find the book in my bio on Instagram or Facebook. I'll also put it up on YouTube, the links to the book and everything else. And be sure to ask any questions that you have. Thanks for watching.